Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing motivation from a Stoic perspective. I'll let you know right now ahead of time that the Stoics focus on you being accountable for your own actions a lot. And so some of these quotes can come off a little standoffish, and that's because in a lot of cases they are. You're responsible for your own actions. And with motivation, that's something that's very crucial to keep in mind, is that no one is responsible for your workload other than you. So I'm going to start off with a quote by Marcus Aurelius that reads, "This is what you deserve. You could have been great today, but you chose tomorrow." We often forget that tomorrow won't always be there. It always has been, until it isn't. You could be everything you want if you started working on yourself this time last year. So the question is, are you going to be having the same conversation with yourself next year? Or are you going to start today? Not tomorrow, not in an hour, not in 10 minutes. Are you going to start right now with making those honest decisions to yourself with who you want to be and how you're going to get there? This leads me to another quote by a man named George Bruno. And he said, "If you rewarded your dog's good behavior with a walk rather than a treat, imagine how much different your dog would look." Now, it's easy to reward ourselves with bad behaviors, but negative reinforcement doesn't work. It's not effective. While you can focus on treating yourself with, say, junk food, as opposed to, say, a hike. I'm someone who personally loves hiking. I really enjoy it. So I'll tend to reward myself with things like that, which are going to help better me as a person, rather than, going out or eating out. And now, I know it's easy to just say these things, and it doesn't make the completion of tasks any easier. Something as simple as getting out of bed in the morning can prove to be difficult when there's chaos everywhere else but in bed. So Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, he also wrote about this and said, "At dawn when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to do the work of a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm doing the work that I was born for? Or is this what I was created to do? Huddle under the blankets and stay warm." Now, Marcus Aurelius was a man with much more responsibility than you or I have. That's for sure. He was the leader of the Roman Empire at one of its largest points. He was one of the last 5 great emperors. And even he, the most powerful man alive at the time, struggled with getting out of bed in the morning. So it's perfectly okay for you to struggle with it, but it's something you need to overcome. Personally, something that I'll do is I'll just count to 5. Wake up, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then rip the blankets off like it's a Band-Aid. That's how I've always done it. It's the most effective way for me to do it. And I can't stress enough the importance of getting up in the morning. The importance of getting up and making your bed. Making your bed in the morning is such a crucial thing to completing tasks throughout the day. I'm going to move on now to Seneca, who wrote a lot about life and death, but that's not going to be the focus of this video, but some of the quotes are still applicable. So he wrote, "It's not that life is short, it's that we waste so much of it." And this resonates with me a lot. To think about how much time I spend scrolling social media or just being unproductive in general. It's time that I could have spent reading or learning something new or honing a skill that I have. And he also used to say, "A life, if well lived, is long enough." So start living now. There's never been a better time, and there never will be than now, to start living And I'll explain in a little bit how that ties into motivation. So, when you set out to complete a task, you make a commitment to yourself. You make a decision and say, I'm going to do this. And I best describe this using a clean room as an example, because sometimes you get into a little funk. Maybe you're a little bit depressed. Maybe school is just really stressful. Maybe you have something going on at work and your room gets a little messy. And that's okay. But one day you wake up and you say, I've had enough. I'm going to clean my room today. And you work all day and you scrub your walls down and you work really hard. And then at the end of the day, you walk into your room and it smells clean, it smells fresh. It's almost like the air in there is different. It's an amazing feeling once you lay on that bed and you've accomplished it. And we get that feeling when we accomplish any task. It's human nature. Overcoming struggle feels good. There's no two ways about it. And Epictetus wrote about this, not about this, but about improving yourself. He wrote, "First, say what you will be, then do what you have to do." This is simply just telling yourself to say who you're going to be, and then taking action to become that person. Taking action is oftentimes the hardest part, but it becomes much easier when you make an honest decision to yourself. If you make an honest decision that you are going to be a certain way or accomplish a certain goal, then it becomes a lot easier to get started. And oftentimes getting started is the hardest part of doing any work. That's not to say that it becomes easy, the actual struggle. The work itself doesn't become a lighter load. It just becomes easier to get started. Seneca wrote about struggle, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person without trials." Stoics view struggle and adversity as something that's inevitable. You're going to meet struggle through the day. You're going to have conflict in your day. There's no two ways about it. It's going to happen. And if you accept that when you get out of bed in the morning, you can relieve a lot of the stress and a lot of the anxiety that comes along with it. If you accept that your coworker is going to suck today, it's just going to happen. Then you're that much more prepared for it when it happens. It makes those little inconveniences through your day a whole lot easier. And oftentimes, little inconveniences can be enough of a reason to not do something. It's, I could go to the bank and get that done, but the lines are going to be big because GST just came out and this and that. You can't think about that. You need to just understand that you might be in line for a little while, but you're going to get that task done. That thing that you need to do, you're going to get it done, and it's going to feel great. Now, a lot of the struggle that we face through the day, however, is harder to deal with, and it's internal struggle. A lot of this struggle it's in your own mind, and therefore you have control over it. The more you think about it, and not think about it as in work it up in your head, but the more that you really focus on how bad it's going to be, it gets a lot easier. Now, the last quote that I want to talk about regarding motivation is for the people who are scared to try something new because they're not confident in that skill. And it's a quote by Seneca that says, "Our lack of confidence is not the result of difficulty, but the difficulty comes from our lack of confidence." When you're starting something new, you're not going to be great at it. There's no two ways about it. You just won't. But through the struggle of doing it over and over again, you'll get better. You're going to improve. This is really effective when you're talking about something like fitness. A lot of people are oftentimes scared to start running or scared to go to the gym because they're scared that people are going to judge them. And yeah, maybe they will. But at the end of the day, if you keep working, there's going to be nothing to judge you about. You're going to be great at it. It's just one of those things. The more you work at something, the better you're going to get. And now, I want to talk about my main motivation a little bit. And a lot of people don't think that this is very motivating, but that's because they haven't really meditated on it before. And it's the concept known as memento mori, which is a Latin phrase that loosely translates to remember, you're going to die. Now, I know that this sounds depressing at first, but it's not if you get the point. It's only depressing if you're missing the point, which is that your life is limited and your time is a valuable asset. So don't waste it. It is so valuable, your time. You don't know how much of it you have left. So don't waste a second. Constantly be living. The Stoics identified 2 types of time, alive time and dead time. Alive time is when you're doing something productive, and dead time is when you're doing nothing. You want to minimize the amount of dead time that you have in your day, because there's lots of time for that at night when your work is over and when you're resting and you're getting ready for the next day. I'm going to be doing a video about death later on, and we'll revisit memento mori in detail, but I just figured I'd throw it in since it's the thing that gets me going when I really feel like I'm defeated, or when I'm personally laying in bed and I'm thinking, I don't want to get up, I know it's cold out, I know, whatever's happening in life and whatever's happening in the world has got me stressed out, and I just don't want to get up, I want to lay in bed all day. I'll think, today is no more valuable or no less valuable than tomorrow or yesterday, so why would I waste today? I lived yesterday, I'm going to live tomorrow. Why waste today? It's just as valuable. It's just as important of a day. Why would I waste it? And so I'll revisit that memento mori in a later video, but I just figured I'd bring it up now. So there's something I want to attach to the idea of motivation, and my friend brought this up to me because they were personally experiencing it, and that's the idea of workload moderation. Now, it's easy for people who work from home to overwork themselves. When you have a lot of work to do and you have a big workload, it's easy to think, I'm just going to sit down for 15 hours a day for 4 days straight and not stop working until it's done, and then it'll be over with. I myself personally am guilty. When I have a bunch of assignments to do at the end of a semester, I'll take 1 day and I'll sit down and I'll power through it all, and then I'll feel drained for the next 2 or 3 days because I burnt myself out. Seneca wrote, take some of your own time for yourself too. And that's just a reminder to relax. Don't forget that although you have work to do, you do need time for yourself, and that's totally okay. This time can also be productive. You can pick up a book and read it. You can listen to a podcast that's informative. You can learn something new. You can work on a hobby. You can do that in your downtime. But you know what? If your idea of downtime is your preferred adult beverage and a movie, by all means, power to you. You need that downtime to relax. You need to experience dead time in order to have a live time. There's no 2 ways about it. You're a human being. You're not a machine. You can't work indefinitely, and none of us can. But you can get up in the morning and get your day's work done. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you ought to do, and it's going to feel amazing when you do get it done. So, the challenge I want to leave you with this week is to make a to-do list of no less than 3 simple tasks every day for 1 week. This can be anything from finishing an assignment, doing a page on an assignment, doing a paragraph on an assignment, reading a chapter of a book, going for a run, starting something new, working on that hobby that you always wanted to work on, and getting them done. Check them off as you complete them through the day. And each time you go to check that off, physically check it off, whether it's in your phone or whether you write it down on a piece of paper, physically check it off. And I guarantee you, with each check, you will feel better. It's not going to cure all the anxiety and all the stress about COVID, but it's going to help. It's going to help a lot. Keep in mind that you have work to do. Now, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Get to work.